Hello everybody and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. This is a recorded show Thursday morning, the day that United are playing away to Granada in the it's the first leg of the last 8 tie against Granada from Andalusia. What a trip that would have been, by the way. I would have loved to have been in Andalusia for this game today. Granada's about 80 miles northwest of Malaga. Can you imagine the amount of United fans that had flown to Malaga and travelled to Granada even, and been not just at the stadium but people watching in bars? The atmosphere in the area would have been absolutely fantastic for this game. It would have been a fantastic trip. I would have loved to have gone, but alas, we're still in the grips of this pandemic. We can see the end of it, but it's not come fast enough for us to be able to go to this game. I would have loved to have been there. I've had a look at Granada in how they're doing in La Liga. They're 9th in La Liga. They shouldn't pose too much of a problem. I always say you don't know, of course. As I always say, the players and the staff can't think like this. And as you're not hiding to nothing if you start thinking like this. It's okay for fans to think like this, and they shouldn't really pose as much of a problem. They're 9th in La Liga. They've played 29 games, of which they've lost 13 games. They've lost nearly half the games they've played, haven't they, really? So they shouldn't really pose too much of a problem. They've got a goal difference of -15 in La Liga. So I really fancy United to get through this one. They've got a couple of players that we know of from the Premier League. They've got Roberto Soldado, who will probably play up front for them. He's 35 now, Roberto Soldado, but he's also, coincidentally, he's also played 35 games for him this season. So despite the fact that he's 35, he plays a lot. So I imagine he'll start. He had a couple of seasons with Spurs. That's where most people will remember him from. But since he left Spurs, he's had 2 seasons at Villarreal, 2 at Fenerbahce, and this is his 2nd season now at Granada. So I imagine Soldado will start this game. And also Kennedy, 25-year-old midfield player who they've got on loan from Chelsea. So there's a couple of players in there with quite a bit really of Premier League experience. What will United's lineup be? I've had a look at the newspapers, as I always do. I've got 3 newspapers the teams from 3 newspapers in front of me. The Independent and the Standard have got very similar lineups. The Independent's got De Gea in goal, and the Evening Standard's got Henderson in goal. I mean, if Henderson's in goal, that really will be a kick in the proverbials for David De Gea, wouldn't it? Because obviously, normally when De Gea's in goal for the league games, normally Henderson gets a game in the cup ties. So Henderson's played quite a few games on the bounce now. I would have thought David De Gea would play tonight. But the Independent have got David De Gea in goal, and the Evening Standard have got Henderson in goal. They've both got the same back four: Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. They've both got Pogba and Fred as the central midfield players, and Bruno, and then Greenwood, Cavani and James. So the only difference that the 2 newspapers can see there is actually between the sticks. Then they've got the exact same outfield 10. The Manchester Evening News is slightly different. A lot of people might say this is the one to go off. They might have it nearer. They've got David De Gea in goal, which is what I would expect, really. It must be as it used to be when Henderson was warming the bench most of the time. It's just De Gea's turn to start, I think, in this game. They've got Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles, the Manchester Evening News. I've mentioned on here a couple of times before that the Telles is a decent player, but Shaw is just that good. It really weakens the team in a big way when he's not there. He didn't play, for example, against Sheffield United. We might have got those points. It makes that much difference. It's not, you don't just pick on one moment. I mean, it might not have been a moment in that game where Telles made a mistake that led to a goal or even led to a chance, but it's just that the whole way that the team plays is affected by a good player, a particularly good player who's missing from the team. So it can really make all the difference. But there is a second leg to come, and as I've just said, Granada 9th in La Liga. They've lost 13 games in the league this season. We should get away with it. So I think the Manchester Evening News might have a point, and as I say, there is a second leg to come. Would it be the end of the world if we didn't manage to win, or even maybe had a narrow defeat? Perhaps you might think they can beat them comfortably at Old Trafford. So they've got the Evening News have got Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles. They've got McTominay and Fred. I would expect McTominay to play. He didn't play at the weekend. It is Spurs away this weekend though. Would he be keeping in for that? I don't think so. I think he missed his game at the weekend. I wouldn't think he'd leave McTominay out, who plays nearly every game. I wouldn't expect him to miss 2 games on the bounce. So I think the Evening News might have a point there. McTominay and Fred. They've got Bruno at number 10, the same as the other 2 newspapers. But then because they've not got Pogba in the midfield, they've got him wide on the left. That wouldn't surprise me. Marcus has been struggling really with one injury and another, it seems to be for quite a while now. It wouldn't surprise me to see Marcus left out. So they've got Greenwood, Cavani and Pogba as a front 3. So just to recap on the Manchester Evening News, which I think might be closer than the other 2 newspapers, they've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles. They've got McTominay and Fred. They've got Bruno and they've got Greenwood, Cavani and Pogba. I can see that team happening, I really can. But I would be disappointed for Dan James if he didn't get a start. Having, he played 8 games out of 10 and then suddenly he's missed 2. Even though he's separated by the international break, he's now not played in 2 on the bounce. He didn't play against Leicester and then he didn't play against Brighton. Despite the fact that we won against Brighton, it didn't go, obviously it went particularly badly against Leicester and it didn't go particularly well really against Brighton, so I don't see what he's done to lose his place. We were doing well with him in the lineup, suddenly out of favour for me for no given reason. But there you go. I wouldn't be surprised to see Greenwood get a rest and James on the right, but I think that Manchester Evening News prediction could well be right. Looking forward to it. I do think we will manage to beat them tonight, whichever lineup he picks. And will he have one eye on the Spurs game? Maybe the team might not be quite as strong as that either. So that remains to be seen. I'll be going live at about 6:30. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. About 6:45, 6:50, I'll be live tonight discussing the lineup, and obviously when the lineup comes out, discussing it even further. All the Europa League games tonight are all 8 o'clock kickoffs. I don't understand that. There's still 4 games tonight. I'm not too bothered about it on this occasion, but I would have had a look at another game. Usually they have at least a couple of 6 o'clock kickoffs and then the rest at 8 o'clock. So I would have thought tonight they'd have had, it's only for TV purposes that they do that. So why have they changed it for the quarterfinals? I don't get it. I would have thought there'd be 1 game at 6 o'clock and then 3 games at 8 o'clock. So you won't be, obviously, I imagine most people who are watching this show will be watching United and Granada. So you won't be able to watch any of the other games. They're all 8 o'clock kickoffs tonight. Our game is on BT Sport 2, as I say, live at 8 o'clock. The other half, because it's already drawn for the semi-finals, the other half of our side of the draw is Ajax v Roma. So the first leg is the Ajax home game. That's tonight at 8 o'clock as well. And on the other side of the draw, there's Dynamo Zagreb versus Villarreal. And the one there where I think under normal circumstances, when a draw comes out of the hat, Arsenal versus Slavia Prague, you'd expect it to be a nailed-on certainty for Arsenal. I'm not quite sure it's going to be like that. I'm not saying they won't get through, but I'm not quite sure it's a nailed-on certainty as you would normally expect. I was surprised that Slavia Prague beat Leicester. They knocked Leicester out. When they did knock Leicester out, I expected them to make short shrift the Glasgow Rangers, and they did. So I think they might just have their hands full tonight, Arsenal. That would be an interesting game, and I don't always watch Arsenal's games, but if that was the 6 o'clock game tonight, I would have been having a look at it. The last couple of days I've been watching Champions League football, seen some fantastic football. That's the sort of football I want to see us achieving in the next season or two. Whether we're going to be able to, I don't know. Whether Ollie can get them playing like that, the way the other teams who are doing well in the Champions League, the way they knock the ball around and really keep possession well. They do it so much better than us. It's astonishing, really. Night before last, I watched City beat Borussia Dortmund. Even Dortmund, obviously City were the better team generally, but even Dortmund, they played some really good stuff. They really knocked the ball around well. I had a good look, not watched him so closely before, Haaland. I had a good look at Haaland. Fantastic, looks a great player. Made the got the assist, but it's not about the assist. I know loads of people will say Haaland got an assist, but what a great game he had. But the way he comes short for the ball, his strength, his composure, his touch, he just looks an absolute quality player, Haaland. I really was impressed. And likewise with Bellingham, Jude Bellingham in midfield, 17 years of age, very, very impressive, strong on the ball, quick, drops a shoulder and goes past the man like he's not there, and then sees the pass, involved in the goal as well with a lovely little ball round the corner into Haaland's feet. Really looks the part, Bellingham. I was very, very impressed. Disappointed with a referee from Romania. I don't think a referee... I think the referees, once you get to the knockout stages of the Champions League, really, I think the referees should all be experienced referees, experienced at refereeing top-level football. I thought the referee was pretty poor in that game. He gave a penalty that was never a penalty, that, it was nothing like a penalty, but luckily with VAR these days, that got overruled. But then Bellingham also had the ball in the net, and when I criticise him for getting that wrong, it's not so much that he got the decision itself wrong. I've seen plenty of good referees get decisions wrong like that, but when Bellingham raised his foot to get to the bouncing ball before the keeper, I've seen plenty of refs get that type of thing wrong and give a free kick to the keeper. But in this day and age with VAR, all he's got to do, you can see what's going to happen. Bellingham has got a completely empty net once he's taken that touch and nicks it off the keeper. Bellingham's got a completely empty net. The referee should just wait. It's literally going to take 2 seconds. Bellingham's going to put the ball in the net and then blow your whistle. It's a stupid rule anyway, but the referee needs to be more on the ball. Because he blew his whistle before Bellingham put the ball in the net, VAR couldn't get involved. It's a stupid rule, because he's blown his whistle to stop the play before the ball is in the net. So because he's blown his whistle before the ball's in the net, effectively, he has stopped the play. So because he stopped the play, VAR can only get involved in goals, penalties and red cards. So they're not effectively getting involved in a goal because he's put the ball in the net after the whistle's been blown. I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But the referee needs to be smarter. It really is poor. Just let him put the ball in the net. Like sometimes the linesmen don't put the flag up, and the play goes on for 5 or 10 seconds before they then put the flag up, and then let VAR get involved if it ends up in the net. So all he had to do was wait a second or two, let him put the ball in the net, then blow his whistle. He thinks it's a foul, what the VAR thinks. So poor refereeing, and I think they need to start getting experienced referees. I mean, when I say experienced, I don't know how old the guy is. He might be extremely experienced, but they need experience of top-level football. That's what they should all be from the top 5 leagues, I believe, in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Also in the Champions League, the same evening, Real Madrid beat Liverpool 3-1. I'll stick my neck out and say Liverpool were 3-0 down against Barcelona and turned it around the other year. And things like this do happen. This Liverpool team, I don't quite see that happening, so I'm sticking my neck out. I fancy Real Madrid to get through. Now they're 3-1 up from the first leg, and a cracking win last night for Chelsea as well, 2-0 away to Porto, so I can see Chelsea getting through. I watched Bayern versus PSG last night. What a brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game that was. I really enjoyed it. PSG 2-0 up at one stage, and Bayern got it back to 2-2, and then PSG scored again. And Mbappe with another brilliant goal. He got 2 goals, Mbappe. So that normally I would say 3-2 away. That's a great win. And you've got 3 away goals. I would normally assume that that's done and dusted, but they are playing Bayern Munich. So on this occasion, I would say PSG have still got a bit of work to do. Obviously now, they've losing 3-2 at home is unusual. So it's not just an away win that they need, because if they win 1-0, PSG get through on away goals. They've got to win by 2 clear goals, or or they've got to win 3-2 to get it to extra time, really, Bayern. So that could turn out to be a thriller, that second leg. I find these little things interesting. Choupo-Moting got a goal for Bayern. Choupo-Moting played for Stoke about 3 seasons ago. Stoke let him go on a free. He had 3 seasons there. He went on a free to PSG, and then last season he came on as a sub in the Champions League final. And now this season, and that was against Bayern Munich, and now this season he's scoring for Bayern Munich against PSG in the Champions League quarter-final. And Stoke let him go on a free, and I just find these things absolutely fascinating. And even more so, at the very end of the game, well, not quite at the very end, but a few minutes before the end, about 10 minutes, I think, PSG brought on Moise Kean, who they've got on loan from Everton. So at the end of the game, Bayern Munich had a Stoke City reject up front, and PSG had an Everton player up front, and I find it fascinating in an absolutely top level game of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So that'll be an interesting watch next week, the second leg of that game. I'm looking forward to that one. And there was a bonus game last night. 2 teams in there was 2 games, but I watched one of them at 5:45 last night. Inter played Sassuolo, and Juventus played Napoli. Juventus won 2-0, and Inter won 2-1. These were the games that they both had games in hand on the rest of the Serie A league. So fantastic win for Inter. Lukaku got another goal, aided by Ashley Young, a brilliant cross by Ashley Young. Matteo Darmian, they had a player missing, suspended. They always play with 3 centre-backs. Matteo Darmian played as a 3rd centre-back last night and had a superb game. He really did. His touch and his passing, he's different class, I think. And Matteo Darmian, they play him at right back, they play him at left back, they play him as a wing back, and then suddenly they've got a couple of problems at centre back, and he plays as a centre back. I think he's a great signing. Great signing for Inter, and he's really helps out in a big way, being able to play in different positions. So Inter won 2-1. As I say, Lukaku got one of the goals. He set up the other goal as well for his strike partner, Lautaro Martinez, and they've now gone 11 clear. So they're 11 clear of AC Milan with 9 to play, and the 12 clear of Juventus, who you might think might be the most serious challengers. So 12 clear of Juventus with 9 to play, 11 clear of AC Milan. You've really got to fancy Inter have more or less got it tied up now, that title, which would be fantastic for them. Juventus have won the last 9 on the bounce. So it's an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight, United and Granada. Whatever team he picks, I know I said slightly earlier, even a narrow defeat, they'll swing it round. I don't expect a narrow defeat whatsoever. I would take a draw. I normally say, when you're away first, I normally say you've got to score, you've got to get that away goal. But even a 0-0 draw tonight, I don't think it'd be a disaster. Surely, they've lost 13 games in La Liga. Surely United are capable of putting this tie to bed at Old Trafford, even if it's a 0-0 draw tonight. So long as they don't get beat tonight, I'll be reasonably happy, I suppose. But I'm looking forward to it. 8 o'clock, BT Sport 2. I'll be back about 6:45 with the team news and the upcoming team news. I hope you've enjoyed this little show. If you've enjoyed it, please tell all your friends. Please subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody. Keep stum.